Dear friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Here you will find the latest news from the automotive world, test drives and interesting articles about technical development. Subscribe to my channel for the latest information on new car models, technologies and travel experiences. If you are a car enthusiast, this channel is for you. Subscribe and let's discover the car world together. Questioning reality in the quickest pickup on the planet. Is this real? A woman stands next to a 2024 Tesla Cybertruck outside a hotel in Venice, California, and she's pretty sure she's looking at a runaway movie prop. "Looks like there's a car under that," she asks. We tell him that yes, it's real, but if any means to question objective reality, this is it. To us car enthusiasts, it seems like the Cybertruck has been around forever. It was announced in November 2019 and has been in the news every day since, but for a large part of the population it may also be alien lander or runaway military project. Looks like he walked out of Home Depot Andromeda in 3000 carrying a pallet of nano armor for the all-fusion recombinator on a Gorgon farm. When the door opens, you expect to see the driver's seat filled with holograms. Cybertruck is the craziest production car of the century, and second place is not even close. Highs, 60 miles per hour in 2.6 seconds, supreme dent resistance, you'll meet its fans wherever you go. Whether you exclaim, "I can't believe they built that," with a sense of wonder or disdain depends almost entirely on an aesthetic judgment. Either you dig the Cybertruck's 32-bit polygon form factor and naked stainless steel skin, or you don't, and there really is no in-between. Driving it around Los Angeles, you need only roll down the windows to get an earful of public sentiment. One guy on a bike rides past and yells, sing-songy, "Cybertruck. Lame." Another says, "I don't know why that gets so much hate. It looks cool." And yet another calls out, "Is that made of wood?" We told you, a significant percentage of the population can't accept that a real car company actually built this to sell to the general public. We're still grappling with that ourselves. Consider that this tri-motor beast model, or Cyberbeast, if you will, is a 6,901-pound electric pickup truck that can tow 11,000 pounds and also hits 60 miles per hour in 2.6 seconds, which matches the time we recorded from the Lamborghini Huracan STO. It has steer-by-wire and brake-by-wire, and its low-voltage architecture is bumped up to 48 volts from the typical 12. The truck's various sensors and controllers communicate over an internal ether loop network that Tesla claims dramatically reduces the amount of wiring needed for communication among the various subsystems in the truck. The power tonneau cover for the bed is lockable and strong enough to stand on. And then there's that stainless steel skin, which is dent resistant and strong enough that the doors have no internal side impact beams because they don't need them. The Cybertruck represents a thorough rethinking of how to build a car, much of it self-imposed, but progress can come in strange forms. For instance, that steer-by-wire system is essentially a byproduct of Tesla's determination that yokes are cooler than steering wheels, which means you absolutely need a variable steering ratio to avoid multiple turns lock to lock. The Cybertruck's tiller is rectangular, essentially a yoke with a top bar. While variable ratio steering can be accomplished mechanically, it's more elegant to handle electronically. And so the uninitiated inevitably pull away in the Cybertruck, tracing a spaghetti path because it's easy to apply too much steering input. Your brain quickly adapts to the new normal, your hands quieting down because you don't need to issue small corrections to follow a straight line. And the total range of steering is less than one turn lock to lock. The rear-axle steering plays a role, too, enhancing agility, to the point that the Beast's dual rear motors don't do any torque vectoring across the axle because the truck is nimble enough already. At one intersection, we had to wait for the Ford F-250 ahead of us to execute a two-point U-turn that the Tesla dispatched in a single arc. If you're worried about steer-by-wire with no mechanical backup, the backup is basically more steer-by-wire. There are two steering motors, each of which uses a separate controller and power supply, with various sensors on each to sniff out any issues. If one of the motors fails, the truck will go into a limp mode with a 5-minute countdown to pull over. The loop part of the ether loop points to more redundancy, since the truck can lose any component on its network and reroute communication to keep all other systems online. Even the electronically controlled dampers were designed with the what-if of failure in mind. If the dampers lose power, they default to firm valving, so a driver who's towing or hauling a heavy load won't be stuck with a wallowing truck. Tesla's thinking on worst-case scenarios and their aftermath extended to crashes too. Thanks to the Cybertruck's snub nose, there isn't as much crush space as you'd enjoy with a traditional long-hood pickup. For the first time, Tesla incorporated the collapsible crush tubes into the single giant front casting that dissipates energy by, essentially, exploding into tiny pieces. But a crash doesn't mean the entire casting has to be replaced. The casting can be reconstructed ahead of the demolished parts. As for the body itself, a rogue grocery store shopping cart will not be a problem. But if you do manage to mangle a panel, just bolt on a new one. About those panels, Tesla formulated its stainless steel alloy to prioritize hardness and corrosion resistance. Much has already been made of Cybertrucks wearing grimy orange rust stains, which result when iron particles in the air alight on the truck and begin oxidizing. You can wipe them off. We used an ammonia-free glass cleaner, but the Cybertruck definitely makes you acutely aware of how much airborne iron is apparently floating around out there. You can also give it a scour with Barkeeper's Friend, after which the metal will repassivate, forming its own protective haze. Since this consumes maybe a few microns of metal thickness, you could theoretically clean a hole in your truck, but with 1.8 mm thick door panels, that would take a lot of scrubbings. One thing that Tesla says won't put a hole in your door: subsonic ammunition. We did not test that claim. But we did test the metal itself, by heading to CM Metals, a recycler in Los Angeles. Tesla hasn't specified the Cybertruck's alloy formulation, but metal recyclers make it their business to know exactly what they are paying for. At CM, co-owner Todd Monroe points his XRF spectrometer at the Tesla's front end and gets immediate confirmation that this is, metallurgically speaking, good stuff, sort of like a 301 or 303 alloy, but not exactly either one. It's got a lot of nickel, lot of chromium. This is what you'd call an industrial stainless steel, Monroe says. Okay, so what's the bottom line? I'd give you 50 cents a pound for it, he says. Lowe's, full functionality awaits OTA updates. Available spare tire consumes bed space, you'll meet its haters wherever you go. This truck, a Cyberbeast Foundation Series model, costs a bit more than that, checking in with a $121,985 retail price. That's about as much as you can spend on a Cybertruck, and it nets the 834 horsepower tri-motor configuration, 2 at the rear, 1 at the front. Dual motor versions with 593 horsepower start at $81,985, and next year a rear-drive Cybertruck is promised with a starting price of $62,985. The Foundation Series, $20,000 upcharge, gets full self-driving capability, and all beasts have an electronic locking front differential. Neither was enabled on this early-build truck though. Dual-motor trucks get a locking difference at the rear, too, but the Cyberbeast's dual rear motors take care of that need. After so many years of anticipation, Tesla apparently decided to just start building trucks and push updates later. For now, there are some grayed-out options on the dash dominating touchscreen, which controls nearly every function on the truck. A few primary controls, like the turn signals and the windshield wiper button, are on the steering yoke. The screen works well, given the multifarious tasks assigned to it. Among them is a rear-view mirror function, since the deployed tonneau cover completely covers the rear window. Video review mirrors usually make us want to barf, but this one doesn't, perhaps because it can take up about a quarter of the 18.5-inch screen and doesn't require intense scrutiny. The touchscreen is also your means of selecting the different drive modes and ride heights from the air springs, which can lower the truck for ingress and egress or give it 16.0 inches of ground clearance in off-road extract mode. There's still some tuning to be done there too. The truck automatically lowers when you open a door, which Tesla belatedly realized is not the hot ticket if you're off-roading. Beast mode is aptly named. Besides that scorching 2.6 second 60 miles per hour time, accompanied by tortured howls off the line from all 4 Goodyear Wrangler Territory RT all-terrain tires, the Cybertruck cleared the quarter mile in 11.0 seconds at 119 miles per hour. We saw a top speed of 131 miles per hour, and the truck felt completely stable at max. Tesla claims that the truck generates some rear downforce, a pickup truck stat as unusual as its 0.34 coefficient of drag. That figure is aided by a flat underbody, which is a big reason the Cybertruck carries no underbody spare tire, and available spare tire mounts in the bed. We bet Tesla could have figured out how to stash a spare. There's an underbed trunk area near the tailgate, Honda Ridgeline style, but maybe that was one engineering challenge too many. We get the idea that the powder-coated aluminum tonneau cover alone caused some sleepless nights after it was rolled up and down 10,000 times. With sand in it. The Cyberbeast's skid pad figure, 0.75 g, is decidedly more truck-like than its straight-line performance, and not all that surprising given the weight and the all-terrain rubber. In fact, maybe it's surprising that it's that high. Thanks to its gross vehicle weight rating of 9,169 pounds, the Beast is technically a heavy-duty truck, and those don't typically post superlative skid pad numbers. Heavy-duty trucks also don't require EPA range numbers, but Tesla decided to use the same light-duty EPA methodology anyway. We found Tesla's numbers in line with the performance of other electric trucks, which is to say our 75 miles per hour highway test nets are lower than claimed range. Tesla pegs the Beast's range with the all-terrain tires at 301 miles, while we saw 250 miles in our 75 miles per hour test. That's better than a Ford Lightning Platinum, 230 miles, did in our test, but not as good as the quad-motor Rivian R1T, 280 miles, and a dual-motor R1T Performance, 280 miles, or the Hummer EV Edition 1 pickup, 290 miles. Tesla claims up to 340 miles of range for the 593 horsepower dual-motor Cybertruck. If you want to use some of that 123.0 kWh battery capacity to run your house, the Cybertruck is the first Tesla that can power share through its charge port to provide 11.5 kilowatts of backup power, while the four 120-volt and single 240-volt outlets in the truck can provide a maximum of 9.6 kilowatts. Ultimately, the Cybertruck is a practical machine in an improbable wrapper. It's the quickest truck we've ever tested, yes, but compared to existing electric trucks it mostly represents a difference in degree rather than kind. Its 11,000-pound towing capacity is about what you'd expect. It goes about as far as you'd expect on a charge. The Cybertruck is chock full of clever and original engineering, but most of it is directed toward solving problems Tesla created for itself. Like, the 48-volt electrics allow that huge windshield wiper to be driven by a relatively small motor, but you could also just not have a single huge windshield wiper, which incidentally works better as an aerodynamic aid than it does a wiper. At highway speeds it shifts 2 degrees downward from vertical to reduce drag by 1%. Steer-by-wire is novel, but millions of cars are cruising around just fine with mechanical connection to the steering rack. And dent-resistant body panels are nifty, but Saturn's didn't require a stockpile of barkeeper's friend.